So everybody and their god mama has been texting me about this video and this practitioner. Booby itches. Or I've seen stitch upon stitch upon stitch come on my following. So I went over there and had a look-see through all the videos, not just this one. Lots of people are yelling, but no one is educating. But let me be clear that I understand why any of the black creators are not explaining. I learned this because they get tired of repeating themselves, okay? So I'm going to take the opportunity, because this creator is open to learning, but they're just getting mobbed. So the first thing I want to talk about is why people are getting mad at you for using the word black magic. But I also want all you other people out here to listen, because I really get tired of repeating this. So the word black's etymology, it was originally meant the word flash, flame, burn, that kind of shit. And then you go forward a little bit, and it started meaning the absence of color. And then by the 1600s or 1700s, it started meaning the color black and bad things. And when Christians came along, all magic was black magic, period. There was no other kind. If it's magic, it's black magic. And as the European slave trade came on, and they saw what the Africans were doing for their religion, and saw all the real stuff that would happen, well, then it was definitely devil, and theirs was like super black magic, bad. And you can see that reflected from old articles and pictures right up to the present day in Hollywood. If it's black magic, it's voodoo, it's bad. So it has this racist connotation that black magic equals black folks do nothing but evil magic. But the thing is about this app is the minute you step outside of a predominantly white country, like United States or England, or just mostly those two, and go to anywhere else on the planet, black and white magic have nothing to do with skin color. Black magic has to do with you doing something baneful and malicious, and white magic means you're doing something good or healing. And the people on this app live in this world about this big, and that's not my problem. So I've gotten a lot of flack for it. Just as somebody who's been in this a really long time, black and white, light and dark, baneful and malevolent, it still doesn't mean that. Light white is referring to energy that has a positive charge, and dark, black, and malevolent is referring to energy that has a negative charge. Higher vibration, lower vibrations. It has nothing to do with malevolent and benevolence. You can curse with light, and you can curse with dark. You can heal with dark, and you can heal with light. It's much more of a battery situation. Okay? Light and dark. That's it. Now we're going to get to the thing about cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is like this. When you steal a concept from a POC race, and you give them no credit, and you benefit from it in some way. There are tons of examples, but they can get confusing. So I'm going to give you one of the most notorious examples in American history. So in the late 70s, this was the average fashion of white women. Then in 1979, a movie called 10 came out. And there was a very famous scene of Bo Derek running down the beach. It took off like fire. Everyone was calling it bow braids. Within a week, white hairdressers were charging $200 to $300 to do this to white women's hair, to come get your bow braids. Meanwhile, the black women it was stolen from not only were not given credit, but if they wore their hair that way, they were still considered ghetto and hood and uncivilized. It was trendy for the white ladies. They could go anywhere like that. But not the black folk that it came from. Would you want anything to do with that? Because I wouldn't. The first thing that I want to say here is that they're not doing voodoo. They chose to use the word voodoo because, in their opinion, I guess they gave off that vibe, okay? But if you actually practice voodoo and you watch this video, there's nothing voodoo going on here. So anyway, in one of your videos, you were like, you don't care about closed practices, you go by your intuition. And then somewhere along those lines, you had said this: your soul has no ethnicity. You're right, the soul does not have an ethnicity. However, what color you are, what culture you're in, what country you're born into, male, female, trans, intersex, rich, poor, all those things play into what lessons that you will learn in your current lifetime. I would say that this is the lesson that your spiritual crew is wanting to pass you through at this moment. But I'm not your spiritual advisor, so moving along, I would like to address the reason that you should not incorporate or step into a closed practice such as voodoo, Peomiambe, any of the African traditional religions or Afro-Cuban traditional religions. There's a whole lot I'm not even remembering the names of. Anyway, first I want to address some of the just lies that were posted under your stuff when you were instigating the people. So this person says, you can't do real voodoo when you're not of that heritage and descent. Well, it says descent, but descent. Our ancestors will not work for you. It was used against Europeans, etc. That is just a lie, period. Anyone of any background can approach and ask to be initiated. Spirit can see right through you, and Spirit is the one that decides who makes it through initiation and who does not. It's just most white folks do not. So there's that. The next thing you did was post a picture of this book to like irritate somebody that was coming at you. But in those comments, if it's still there, someone was saying like, you can't read this book, or they hope the spirits come after you. What? And I said that reading about a closed practice is not a closed practice. And then that person was like, you are racist, I knew it. But now I want to talk to you about why it is extremely unadvisable to dabble in closed practices, regardless of your intuition, okay? These practices deal with spirits. Actual spirits. And there are a lot of them that you don't know about because you are not well versed in these practices. And if you dabble around, take voodoo for instance, in the little bits and pieces that you may know about voodoo, or you add bits and pieces into your practice thinking it's harmless, you will invite in things you don't want to. They have a nose for when somebody does this, and they will come for you because you open the door just enough. And when they get in, they will fuck your up. This is Caitlin Ann Reston. May she rest in peace. She died by drowning in her tub. For absolutely no reason. A couple days before her death, she had posted this on Facebook. So people ran with it and they were like, well, you know, Papa Legba killed her. Only Papa Legba doesn't do that. And so the rumor mill started going, blah, blah, blah. But I have an insight on this. This year, I had a reading with a young woman. After our reading, she said to me, there's another reason that I wanted to speak to you. She told me that she was Caitlin's friend, and she was on the phone with Caitlin when this happened. The person I was talking to was POC, by the way. She said Caitlin had been dabbling in certain, or mentioning things that had to do with voodoo, and she had told Caitlin, you need to knock that crap off. Caitlin didn't listen. So Caitlin had set her, kind of like propped the phone up on the toilet while Caitlin was in the bathtub. And Caitlin said to this girl, I don't want to use her name, let me show you, I can manipulate water. And the young woman was using her hands, and the bath water did start to move. But then it didn't stop moving. The witness said she slid down into the water. She's flailing. You hear like gurgling where she's trying to come above the water. Water's flying everywhere because she's thrashing. And during that, one time she got her head up enough and she's saying, stop. Stop it. Then she goes back to flailing. And then she goes quiet and the water settles down. The girl told me this because she was worried that since she had witnessed this, that something had come along and may be attached to her. This can happen to anyone of any color, culture, race, it doesn't matter. When you play around with these things, okay? Don't even use the aesthetic. The last thing I want to clarify was the video where you commented about the origin of puppets. So the oldest voodoo dolls that we have found are from Africa. It originated there. The original ones were wooden, and they would be stuffed with different herbs for healing purposes. And then over time, they began to expand. Some were used to catch and hold bad spirits. Here's an example of one. I think this is one that would be stuffed with herbs to help. And then this is one that was used for shamanic journeys. This concept, this technique, spread everywhere long before Abrahamic religions. However, the concept of using them to cause hurt is what spread, not the healing stuff. This one is from ancient Greece, I think. And it had a spell with it. And the woman was like really mad because this woman was like taking her man. And then this is one pulled from around Cornwall, England, from Cunning Folk. So using puppets or any kind of effigy of a person that you want to harm or heal, it's not closed either. But here's the link to the article, the academic article, about the African Nikisi dolls from the Congo that I was in front of earlier. Okay.